Book Blitz! Welcome back to Eldest, everybody. Today, it's Retaliation. The villagers are finally taking a strike back against the Imperial soldiers whose abuses have become too much to bear for those people of Carvajal. So, as the chapter begins, Horst and Roran and everybody else are scrambling around. They're trying to grab whatever weapons they can, whatever tools or ropes or anything at all they can find to use as a weapon, because it's just a village. I mean, they don't have like an armory. And Roran, after some deliberation, picks up a hammer out of the forge, and he asks Horst if he can use it, and Horst gives it to him. And so so everyone leaves the forge and they kind of take positions. They have their battle plan, and they all take positions and just wait in stealth. And finally, the moment comes. They all charge the soldiers. They knock out the guards. In Roran's case, he actually kills two of them. And the Razak come bursting out of their tent. The soldiers are in this confused mass, and they just keep whacking and smashing and stabbing and everything they can possibly do.
Whacking at me. Whacking and smacking and whacking at me.
Hacking and smacking and whacking. You just hack, whack, and stomping at me. Oh, put your feet. He loves that meat. Oh my god. Anyway, so this particular Fallout 3 player has
This particular
pulled out his most powerful weapons, turned on Vats in the middle of a previously peaceful settlement, and is just having at it. And so it's over in just a few minutes, and the soldiers eventually have to retreat. There's a few of them that lie dead, some by Roran's hand, and one by the hand of a 13-year-old boy whose father had been killed. So the aftermath of the battle, it's just this bloody mess, and the tents are in disarray. The soldiers have fled down the road, and very quickly Roran has to organize everybody. Horst and Roran have to organize everybody, and the village is now awake, and they start filing out of their homes, and they start demanding, what's going on, what's happening. And Horst and the other attackers explain what were going on, but that's not to the satisfaction of a lot of the villagers, who feel that Horst and Roran and all their actions have doomed the village to an even worse fate. But Horst argues back that no, of course not. I mean, this is, by the very fact that we were shielding Roran in the first place, Galbatorix is going to consider us traitors. Not to mention, I mean, we were already in a horrible place. One of ours had already been killed, and buildings had been burned down. We were doomed no matter what happened. So action had to be taken. And so eventually, this all gets... It's all resolved for the moment. They really can't go into this right now because the soldiers are surely going to be back sooner than later. And so there's this flurry of activity throughout the village as defenses start getting raised up as quickly as possible. People get organized as quickly as possible. And they manage to blockade part of the street that enters the village with a couple of overturned wagons. And just as they finish all these preparations, Roran spies one of the Razak on horseback, just out of range of bowshot, and the Razak raises its arm and it throws what looks like a stone, and Roran's kind of chuckling about, what is he going to do? And there's an explosion. It was like some sort of like grenade or something like that. And so the wagons get blown away and it leaves this opening. Soldiers are pouring through, and the villagers have to stand against the soldiers, and they start battling them off, and everyone eventually manages to fight off the Imperials, and they slay a few, and the Razak eventually order a retreat. And then at last, the Razak call out a challenge that they're going to capture Roran no matter what. They recognize his smell. They know who he is because of the smell of Aragon before him, they understand that this is indeed the person they've been hunting for, and they warn the village that if they will give up Roran, that they will all be sold into slavery. If they do not give up Roran, they will all be killed. And having issued that challenge, the Razak ride off into the distance, leaving the village to deliberate what to do next. I really don't have much more to add to this one that I didn't say in the last chapter. It's very good. I mean, as far as just this action sequence goes, the way everything's handled, we don't spend too much time on the deliberation of the village. We don't spend too much time on the arguments and all the things that in an Aragon chapter would have totally happened. We just get quick, fast, dirty. This is what's going on. Action has to be taken right now. Mm-hmm. They're scrambling. They're doing everything they possibly can. The idea of grabbing some wagons and just doing whatever they can to barricade some of the road, do whatever possible to protect the village. Like, it all works. Once again, all of this is very relatable, very real, very grounded in reality. And there is some more extreme stuff that's going to come a little later, but for now, at least, I mean, it is very... It just works. It's grounded. And so that the fact that it's grounded and the fact that it's such an if not I hesitate to say relatable, but it's such a realistic, believable scenario that it's just this village standing against an empire and they're doing all they can. I mean, it just works. It really, really works. And it's even realistic in the sense that, yes, even though the Empire, these are trained soldiers and, it's, there is a fanciful element where, yes, of course, I mean, Horst and Roran end up being these amazing fighters and all this stuff and whatever. I mean, and really Roran's only excuse is he's got I don't know, this impassioned rage at the moment. He doesn't really have anything more than that going for him, and the fact that he and Aragon, quote unquote, trained together back in the day. So there is that, there's this stretching of reality a little bit that okay, yeah, sure, Roran's able to hold his own against trained Imperial soldiers. Okay, sure. But at the same time, it still works. It's still, it's stretching things just enough to be exciting and to make it a good story, but not so much that you're like, what? What's Congress? What the hell did you just say?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think what's Congress is the new we'll get there.
God. What's Congress? I just love that line. What's Congress? Anyway.
It sounds like the beginning of a Schoolhouse Rock song. God. Oh, man.
There's not much to add, though. That was a really good analysis of that chapter, sir.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. Oh, there's one moment I did miss, and it's a little, very brief moment where Roran and Katrina meet up. So this is going to be more important a little later, but there is a little moment that happens where Katrina and Roran kind of bump into each other during all the preparations and defenses for the village, and Roran has made up his mind. He's like, look, in times like these, I just need to talk to you. There's no time to wait on everything to be perfect. Obviously, that everything's going to hell. I just need to talk to you as soon as possible. So he's clearly going to go ahead and, propose as soon as possible. So, which yet again, I like that actually comes from a realistic place. It comes from this very real, obviously, his former problem of, well, I don't have a house and a farm and a harvest. I mean, that would so get superseded by, holy shit, a bunch of people trying to kill us. And so, and if this moment feels earned, it's not just some out of character, and then Roran just threw aside everything we knew about his personality and just said, hey, I'll get married. No, yeah. He didn't put all that stuff aside. He's doing that out of necessity of the moment. He's like, okay, it's now or literally never. Anyway, I mean, basically all I've had to say about this chapter is I really like the Roran stuff, but I do. I mean, I really do. I like the Roran sections of this book. I think that, and we'll get into this a lot later on too, but to me, for the most part, the Roran chapters make up for a lot of the weaknesses in the book created by the Aragon sections. Now, that's not entirely the case, because obviously, you know, the whole book, the majority of the book is Aragon sections, and it doesn't completely redeem it, but the Roran sections alone are a better read than most of the first book.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. Like I said, I really wish that it was Roran was the main character. Like, and when the end happens of this book and Roran and Aragon meet, like, you want them to switch places, and you're kind of hoping, because of the importance that Roran has in this book when it comes to just his content, that somehow he's basically going to become the second main character. And unfortunately, that just never happens.
Well, he becomes a main character, but like,
it's a secondary main character. Like,
yeah, he's secondary for sure.
He's not even a Vegeta to Aragon's Goku. Not that Aragon is ever is even likable as Goku is, even though Goku's not exactly a very complex character. He's just like he's like Batman to Superman, but instead of there being an interesting relationship and them actually being equals in some sense, it's like, it really is just like, what if Superman was like kind of a snobby 16-year-old? And you know what I mean?
God. Yeah, no, I totally get you. Yeah, but sadly, I think I want to say that Roran takes up about a third of this book, but it may be closer to a quarter. I mean, it's not an insignificant amount, but I mean, the more I think about it now, because I've actually finished the book already myself, with my own reading, but I wish it was more. I wish Roran took up more of the book. I wish it was a, you know, back and forth every chapter, like, you know, Roran, Aragon, Roran, Aragon, Roran, Aragon, you know, like, that would be way better. Although, in a way, and I'll talk about this later, but I do think that for the story that is told, the way Roran's chapters are implemented actually is kind of a strength, but we'll get there. So, I guess that's really all we got to say about this one. So, next time, everyone, Swelden Rock Anwin. I think that's what it is. We're just going to call it Sweldy. How about that?
Yo, Sweldy.
Sweldy Annie. Sweldy Annie. That doesn't work at all. I was trying to make this really stupid, like, cheesy mockery of it, but it actually ended up being, like, so much worse. Anyway. That's next time, everybody. So thank you for listening. Until then, Book Blitz.